Say other.
But they've been raised together.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
There we go. We're here. It is a beautiful autumn night here in Huntington. For some, it might be too chilly. For others, it might be too warm. For me, it's just right. I feel like Goldilocks in this weather. Today was a very nice day. It was brisk. It was crisp. Not too much wind. The sun was out. No rain, which was nice. And it is Shabbat. So regardless of the weather, whether it's warm or cold, it is Shabbat, and we are here to welcome Shabbat and to spend a little bit of time with each other. You know, we are open. So those of you who feel up to it can always come on a Friday night and be live. There you go. Be live. All right. Live. All right. We have Judy here, and she's going to bench licht for us this evening. Light the Shabbos candles as we begin welcoming Shabbat.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Okay.
There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kadeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's turn to page 6. Page 6 will have a responsive reading in English, the bottom paragraphs. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May the synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
All right, we're going to welcome, going to greet the Shabbos bride with Lecha Dodi, a song that comes to us from the mystical city of Sfat, which is now kind of three things when you go to visit it. It's a modern city, right? It's built on a hillside, but it's expanded, and it's a modern city. It's an artist's colony. So when you go there, you can get all sorts of beautiful handmade art, from paintings to talitot to all sorts of Judaica and amazing handcrafts. Whatever you're looking for, you can find there. And it's a big city, a place for the Hasidim and the mystics of our tradition to live. Most notably, the Breslover Hasidim have a yeshiva there, and are numerous there. So, but Lecha Dodi comes to us from the 16th century from Shlomo Alkabetz, one of our great Kabbalists, and top of page 20. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad. Ishmi'anu elam yuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shem ultiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha. Ki mekor ha'bracha מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך אפיך, רב לך שבט בימך בכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, קורבה אל נפשי גאלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך וקומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לא תבושי ולא תקולמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר אל תילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, והיו לשמשה שוסייך, ורחקו כל מבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כי ימסוס חתן על כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד באיש בן פצי, ונהי שמחה ונגילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Let's turn to page 222, and we'll read verses from Psalm 92, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadikata ha'yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yiskeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu O Jinuvun Beseva Deshenim Verananim Yihiyu Lehagi Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo. Right, Shalom Alechem on page 24. We greet the angels who come to visit us with the traditional Hebrew greeting, Shalom Alechem, right? Peace to you, Shalom Alechem. And the response is Alechem Shalom, right? And peace to you, and to you, peace. Top of page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mihi melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mihi melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mihi melech, malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. So we conclude Kabbalat Shabbat. We'll conclude it with Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemeh rabbah b'yomha divrach yeruteh v'yamlik malchuteh v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedechol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach li'olam olamei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitala shmei d'kudisha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiram be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlam al rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'yimrumav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Turn to page 146 for the beginning of Arvit l'Shabbat, the evening service for Shabbat. Page 146, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Let's read together the three paragraphs near the bottom of page 147. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish. But your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to be co-workers with you, and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. 148. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Havta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shochleinu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu v'yorech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu li'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlektecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Lemahan tizkeruhu V'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. On page 151, let's read responsively in the middle of the page. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abounds.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha Nedar ba'kodesh, nohora tehilot, osefele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amru. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, v'nehemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, Uga'alo miad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. 153 at the top, Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. And let's read together near the bottom of page 153. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 154 at the top. Verses from the book of Exodus. Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We are at the centerpiece of the evening service, the Amidah, and we'll find that at the beginning on page 155, and we'll chant 155, 156, and 157 together, and then we'll continue silently through the end on 167, and you can follow along in the Hebrew with us, or chant if you want, read the English, or offer up your own personal meditative prayer during this time. But we're going to begin together on 155. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Goel Ibnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Zer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atarav L'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechaye Meitim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofe Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Bichamocha ba'al givoro, Umito melach, Melech memito mechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hametim. If you are still completing your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We're going to read together in the middle of 160. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. A little bit of Hoda'ah near the end of the Amidah, a little bit of gratitude, lots of things to be grateful for. Big things, little things, whatever you feel like being grateful for, be grateful for it this week and always. Adopt what I like to call an attitude of gratitude, right? You can't go wrong there. Page 163 at the top, let's read responsively. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being.
And we'll close out our Amidah on page 164. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, Tasihim leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasihim leolam. Tasihim leolam. Tasihim leolam. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. Page 253. We'll jump ahead to the Mishaberach, the prayer asking for healing, and middle of 253. Mishaberach Avotenu mikor habracha le'imhotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imhotenu mikor habracha li'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. All right, prayers for our community on pages 258 and 259, and these we'll read together. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion and prayer, support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. Sha'alu shalom Yerushalayim, yishlayu ohavayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu shabashamayim, tzur Yisrael v'goalo, barech et medinat Yisrael, reishit smichat geulatenu. Hagen aleha bi'evrat chastecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha, ushlach orcha v'amitcha l'rasheha, sareha v'yoetzeha. V'takneim be'etza tova milfanecha, v'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam liyoshveha, v'nomar Amen. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. This week's Parsha is Vayishlach, one of my favorites. It focuses on Jacob's return home, right? Last week, we noted that he was leaving and Laban chased after him, But now this is where Yaakov is going to make his final stretch home. And he hears that his brother Esav, whom he hasn't seen in over 20 years, is in the area. And so he sends messengers out to see what's up with Esav. And they come back and they say, hey, Esav is on his way and he's looking for you, and he's got 400 men with him. Of course, Jacob panics and he divides his group into two camps. He puts one in front of the other, thinking that if Esav attacks, he'll wear himself out with whatever camp he chooses, and then the other one will be spared. But we're going to find out that Esav does not have that in mind at all when he gets to meet up with his brother. The night before he's set to meet with his brother, Jacob spends the night wrestling with either a man or an angel or a man angel. And near dawn, the man angel wants to leave. They've kind of wrestled to a draw. And there are lots of comments about this, that Jacob is really wrestling himself. He's wrestling who he was with who he wants to be. But anyway, for the drama part of this, the angel says, you got to let me go. And Jacob says, well, not until you bless me. You got to give me a blessing, right? I've wrestled with you all night. And so the angel says that, all right, we're going to change your name. And you're not going to be Jacob anymore. You're going to be Yisrael. But as the angel is getting ready to leave, he wrenches Yaakov's hip, Yaakov's thigh. And so Yaakov has to walk with a limp. And the rabbis bring down that this is why if you eat kosher meat, you don't eat the vein that is in that part of that muscle, because out of respect for Jacob. But Jacob gets up the next morning and he goes to meet Esav, and the meeting is beautiful. They hug, they cry, they reconnect. Esav wants to, hang out with Jacob. Jacob, I guess, is still a little bit leery of him, but there's a reconciliation. Jacob is putting another part of the old Jacob to rest by reconciling with Esav, and each goes on their own way. And this would be a beautiful way to end the parsha. Unfortunately, we don't end the parsha here. There's a story that's dropped in. And what I mean by dropped in, there's a story that doesn't fit. There's no transition from what just happened to this story, and then at the end of this story, there's no transition to the next story. So it's kind of squeezed in there, as if the editor of the Torah had this story that he had to put in, but had no real place to put it. And this is one of the most troubling stories of the Torah. It's the rape of Dina. Dina is the only daughter that's really mentioned in the book of Genesis. We know that Lot has daughters. We know that Noah had daughters-in-law, but we don't know their names. Dina, we do know, and she is one of Jacob's children, and she's raped by a man named Shechem. And the interesting thing is that, Shechem says, hey, I'll marry her. She's beautiful. I'll take her. I'll marry her. No worries. And so they come up with the demand that all the men of Shechem's town, or of Shechem's retinue, they have to be circumcised. And the men do it. And while they are recovering, while they are writhing in pain, it's Levi and Shimon and Levi, two of Jacob's sons, attack them and kill everybody. And so Jacob is rightly incensed, and he's frightened because, they attacked people who were working with them to rectify a very delicate situation. And the boys say to their father, should we allow our sister to be treated like this? And that's the end of that story. So you see it doesn't really fit it right there. Then the Torah turns to Bethel. Jacob is made at home, and God appears to Jacob and promises that nations shall flow through you, and that you will get the land that I promised to your father and to your grandfather. Rachel, his beloved wife, dies in childbirth, giving birth to Benjamin, and she's buried on the side of the road. She is the only one of our patriarchs and matriarchs, the only one of the matriarchs who's not buried in the cave at Machpelah with Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Leah. And at the very end, Yitzchak dies, Isaac dies. He's buried at Machpelah by his two sons, right? There's no animosity between the two sons. There's no anger or anything. And the boys part way. And that's about it. At the end, they give you a genealogy of Esav, letting you know that he is an important part of our tradition, even though we don't follow his line. Right? And that's this week's Torah portion in a nutshell. There was one mitzvah. It's a negative one. Lo le'echol gid hanesha. Right? Don't eat the thigh vein. Don't eat the thigh vein. It's part of what makes kosher meat so expensive, getting that thigh vein out. All right. Well, today, this Shabbos, starting at sundown, my pop's yard site. 11 years. Seems like yesterday. Seems like an eternity that he's been gone. And so when it rolls around yard site time, and I've often said to people, I'm not big on yard sites. Not big on Yizkor. I'm not big on any of those one day kind of things where we remember the dead, because we should be remembering them every day. We should be living by the ideals that they taught us, which is more important than saying Kaddish, 3 or 4 times a year. And so as of late, I've been thinking about what he taught me. Right? Not all of it was easy to learn. I mean, I was not the most obedient of sons, nor was I the most relaxed of sons, right? So there were a lot of tense moments between us. And so as I think on him, almost daily, I always think about getting one of those bracelets that a number of years ago there were, what would Jesus do on a bracelet? And you would look at it. I always wanted to get one that says WWPD. What would Pops do? Right? How would he react in this particular situation? And I think that helps keep him alive for me. That helps keep him in my life and gives me an opportunity to still, get his counsel. And, he was a true role model to me, right? And I can say that without any irony, without any wink winks, right? He was a true role model. He exhibited in his life the traits he wanted me and my brother to emulate. Now, I don't know what he did when we weren't around. I would imagine he would behave roughly the same way, but I never heard him say certain words. Unfortunately, he heard me say most of them, but I never heard him say those kinds of words. He was never dismissive of another person's ideas. He would listen to you, even if he thought you were a raving lunatic, but he would listen to you, and he wouldn't try to make you feel less than. He never embarrassed anybody publicly. And with me, that is amazing, because I know there were times that I really pushed him, and he always said he knew how to apologize. Even to me, he would apologize when he did something that was not necessarily wrong, but he knew that it wasn't the right thing to do, and he would apologize. But there's one thing that I'm still struggling to learn, still working my way through, even after all these years. And it's that idea of not being angry, of letting things go, right? My father and I could argue hammer and tongs. We could go at it for hours, it would seem. And then after we let go, after we blew our steam, all of it was gone, we would eat ice cream together. I could do that with him, but I'm still learning how to do that with other people. Not the ice cream eating part, but the idea of not staying angry. And the Torah has a beautiful verse. It also teaches us not what they say to bear a grudge, velo titor, right? Don't bear a grudge. And the Torah teaches us, and as my father used to teach me, right, not in exactly the same way that the Torah describes it, but in his own inimitable way, the Torah says when somebody hurts you, when somebody angers you, when somebody does something to you, you've got to talk to them. You've got to tell them. You've got to call them on it. If they don't recognize it at first, you call them on it, but not harshly, not to embarrass them, and never in public. Right? So that idea of diffusing a situation is, let it go, right? A grudge, right? For those of you who aren't familiar with what a grudge is always the direct object of something, right? Now, what I mean by that, it needs a transitive verb. It needs an action verb. It needs to be acted upon, right? You don't just have a grudge. You carry a grudge. You bear a grudge. You nurse a grudge, right? You have to put work into it, right? It's not just something that you have. It's something that you work on and you constantly feed it. That's what makes it a grudge. And for Pops, whenever he tried to teach me about this, he would say, son, he called me son. He said, son, it's too much work. Let it go. It'll make you tired. Let it go. And he would remind me of the saying that when you bear a grudge, it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to die, right? It only hurts you. It doesn't hurt them. You're the one that's carrying the grudge. If you're the one that's always angry, the person against whom you're carrying this grudge, they might not be aware of it. They might not even care. They're not carrying it. It saps our strength. It diminishes our joy, right? To always be carrying something. Pops' yard site. 11 years I've been without him. My family's been without him, not just me. But it feels like, 22, 32, 55 years. Right? I'm still learning. I'm still learning from it. And for me, the yard site is just another calendar day. But it's a day that, because I keep Pops with me every day, I'm still learning. 54 years old, I'm still learning. Still struggling with the lessons he tried to teach me. And Pop said to me once, he said, life's too short to be angry. Talk about it. Then let it go. And get on with your life. Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos. All right, Kiddush time. Kiddush time. Time I say Kiddush time, it reminds me of Howdy Doody time. And always afraid I'm going to break into the Howdy Doody song in the middle of Kiddush. So, but I'm not going to. There we go. There's Judy. She's going. Kiddush. Vayhi erev vayhi voker yom hashishi. Vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz. V'chol tzivam. Vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi. Melachto asher asa. Vayishbok bayom hashvi'i. Mikol melachto asher asa. Vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i. Vayikadesh oto. Kivo shavat mikol melachto. Asher bara Elohim la'asod. Savri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom techila lamikrai kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, B'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. As we start to close out our service this evening, page 282, Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gohor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech molchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser haaretz umoshev yikaro b'shamayim b'mahal ushchinatu zo v'gov hei meromim Hu Eloheinu Einod Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato Kakatu V'Torato V'Yadata Hayom V'Hashevota El Levavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim V'Shamayim Mimal V'al haaretz mitachat ein od. Katu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed v'nehemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. This week we observed we are in Shloshim for Ben Dolan, Joyce Levy, and Ina Hamill. This week we observed the following yahrzeits: Ellis Clay Ambergy Jr., Judy Lundy's brother; Larry Levine, husband of Janice, father of Kevin and Derek, brother of Chuck; Arthur Weisberg, husband of Joan, father of Pam, Martha, Louis, Seth, and Charlie; Corey Levin, Hal Rudin's grandson; Nessa Shatner, Ernst Billig's aunt; Charles Tully, Brenda Glick's father; William Island, brother of Ed; Maxine Schoenfeld Frank, relative of Walt Lewis; Golda Herskovitz Stern, grandmother of Diane Shaddles; Mickey Radow, mother of Judy Woodruff and Stephen Radow; Betty Rosen, Bill's wife, Mark's mother; Barbara Shaddles, Steve's mother; Theodore Weintraub, Rabbi Witcher's uncle; Ray Friedman, grandmother of Ellen Hernandez; Arthur Wills, husband of Barbara, Brenda Glick's brother-in-law, father of Art and Greg; Loretta Glick, Betty Kolker's relative; Harold Rudin, husband of Z, father of Vicky; Laura Bihar Turetsky, Tori Witcher's mother; Leon Howard Hartz, Maury's great uncle; Vernon Katz, brother-in-law of Bernice Stern; Charles Levy, Bob's nephew; Genicia Blanchard, relative of Valerie White; Karen Sue May Glick, David Glick's wife, mother of Shelley; Howard Steinberg, father of Jack and Sally; Mary Helene Stout, mother of Suzanne Hartz; Harold Strauss, husband of Ida, father of Beth. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us always. And may they all rest in peace. You find Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shmech Rabbah, Be'alma, Divrach, Yeruteh, Be'amlik, Malchuteh, B'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chaye, B'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, V'zman, Kariv, V'imru, Amen. Yehi, Shmech Rabbah, M'vorach, Le'olam, L'mei Almaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpahar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shmei, D'Kudusha, B'richu, Le'elam, Min Kol, Birchata, V'shirata, Tushbachata, V'nechamata, V'amiram, V'alma, V'yibru, Amen. Yehi, Shloma, Rabbah, Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yibru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, V'ramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yibru, Amen. All right, friends, just a couple of quick announcements before we close with our final song. In my drash, I alluded to the fact that my father called me son, and we used to joke because that he only called me son when I was in his presence. When my brother was in his presence, he called my brother son, and the other one was the other part of the line was, yes, I call this one son, the other one Moonglow because he's not so bright. That was Pops. That was Pops. So now you know the secret. Now you know the secret. Let's see. Service is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Then on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Nothing this Sunday afternoon. We're going to take a break from Let My People Know. And I believe their Deep Dive Genesis is on Monday. And I believe we have Yiddish choir on Wednesday. And then it's Thanksgiving. So there you go. You can sing about turkeys, right? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of jokes in Hebrew about turkeys, but that's the week, and then we'll be back on next Friday. So kind of a quiet week, except for the fact that it's Thanksgiving, and so lots to be thankful for. Lots to be thankful for this year. All right, let's close out with Adon Olam, and we'll find that. Just turn a couple of pages, and here it is. It is right where I left it. Well, it's being shy tonight. Page 321. 321, Adon Olam. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa b'chepso kol hazai melech shemo nikra v'acharei kichlot hakol levado imloch nohora Vehu haya, vehu hoveh, vehu yiyeh b'tifara, vehu echad, v'ein sheni, laham shilo lahachbira, v'li reshi pali tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, vehu eli, v'chai goali, v'tzur chevli b'yetzara, Vehu nisi umanosli menat kosi biomekra biahado avkid ruchi bieti shan biahira vim ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira. All right, let's see who says hello to us via the interwebs. All right, we have Jenny Bro, Shabbat Shalom, wishing everyone a delightful Thanksgiving. Thank you, Jenny, same to you. Oh, there's Mom, Shabbat Shalom from Rabbi's mom and Cliff. Also hope each and every one of you have a nice Thanksgiving. ML and Herman Glazer wishing all a good and peaceful Shabbat. Well, thank you, ML and Herman. Brenda Glick, Shabbat Shalom from Billy and Brenda. Thank you, Billy and Brenda, and happy Thanksgiving. Back to you. Melanie Samuels from the holy city of Brooklyn. A good Shabbos and a wonderful Thanksgiving to you. Thank you, Melanie, and the same to you and the new kitty. There's Mom. Thank you for the beautiful message about your pops. Well, every word was true. And Diane Shuttle, Shabbat Shalom from Diane and Steve, and a happy Thanksgiving too. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom to you and Steve. Also a happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Everybody be careful out there, and we'll see you soon.